group comments like, "Please try not to curse." I'm like, I swear, I swear, I tried not.
Hey, Cap, you know that saying, if you make a mess, clean it up. That's all you got
Yeah.
to do, brother.
Yeah,
That's all.
I
Clean it
didn't
up.
curse for the rest. I called him an a-hole for the rest of the night, not
There
the,
you go.
the full thing, right?
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
on.
Gotcha.
Cool.
And I said that I can't wait to do a Carlton Goonie Goo Goo dance
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
when the Chiefs are no longer in the playoffs.
In the
I will
playoffs.
do a Carlton Goonie Goo Goo dance, man.
We should
Okay.
go live and do it together.
Well,
Hey,
yeah.
let's do that. Hey,
Spe-
I'll give you the link and we can go on together, man.
Oh,
We
yeah,
can do a
man.
double.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm making a fool of myself just wearing this crazy shirt. So I got 6 o'clock. Let's
Come
roll this
on. What do
thing.
you come on, man?
Yeah,
Game day, baby! Let's go!
let's go. Playoffs?
Playoffs. What's that?
I don't know. Welcome everyone to NFL Nation Live, our Week 19 show. It is playoffs time. There's no more lot of football to be played stuff. And we'll pat ourselves on the back this week too for some of the teams that we've put on the clock, some of which were a long time ago that now are out. In any case, I am Ref Guru, along with the Hall of Famer, Wayne Violator Mabry, and the legendary Pirate Captain Jack. We will open up the chat here in just a second. Keep it coming and keep it real. Thanks for joining us this week. A lot to talk about. Maybe not so much with regards to Week 8.
Before we go there, I gotta
Where we go?
ask: Am I buzzing?
Well, not any more than usual.
No, not
Well,
yeah.
No.
okay, because they said I was buzzing over there
What do they know?
on audio, and that's why I asked. They said
What-
so if it,
That's
you know-
Clear as hell. You clear as
that's-
hell, man. Just
that's
keep
a
buzzing.
Chiefs
If that's
thing,
what
man.
you're doing, keep buzzing.
okay, I was gonna say because I did a package check. I said if I'm buzzing, I'm doing that, and I stood up and
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I
Got
feel
you that.
I
Yeah,
feel
there's no buzz here yet, but thanks for asking. But no, you're good.
What did you know?
You're good. Yeah. That's okay. But it's still a good show. By the way, welcome Overcat from Mile High Roundtable's Wild Wild West show. Woo! So not a lot to talk about Week 18 because it's over. But in any case, we'll cover a few things and get ready for Week 19. And Raiders didn't win, but whatever. In any case, V, what are your quick first thoughts, my friend?
Quick first thoughts. Kudos to DeMar Hamlin and his family. He's been moved
Yeah,
back
that's right.
to Buffalo's hospital there. He's doing better, but he's still, I guess, in critical condition. But this young man is showing us what fight is, and I
No
love
doubt
that.
about it. Him and me both, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
him and
you
me
and the
both.
chainsaw. Yeah, what
Yeah.
about the chainsaw?
Jeez. Well,
I missed the chainsaw thing. I apologize. You guys got to tell me about either later on. I gotta. Are you kidding me?
no, I'm not kidding you. You should
Dude,
see the you should
Is
see the
that for
chainsaw.
real? For real?
Well,
Yeah,
it's for real, but
for real.
yeah, it wasn't a chainsaw though. But it makes for a good story. But yeah, the
Oh,
scars for
okay.
real. Hell, if I was going to do this shit, I would have done it in October when I could use it for Halloween.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
no,
so
that-
it's hard
that-
to. I'm stitched
ugly.
up from here to here, so it's hard to talk. Don't make me laugh for God's sake.
Oh well,
Um,
I cannot confirm or deny or attest to anything. I
There
won't
you
do
go.
it deliberately,
Copy that.
but if I do it, I am on record. I apologize to begin with.
No, it's cool. It's all good. We're all friends here. Gabe's like, Rev Guru looking sharp. Thanks, buddy. And sharp and begin to tell it. Anyway, V, what are your quick first thoughts, man? We're gonna kick this crazy show
Hey,
off.
look, fans getting kicked out of their own stadium.
Oh,
for
that's
signs.
messed up. Yes,
let's
for
talk
holding
about
up a
it.
sign.
Yeah.
We'll be
Yeah.
back. Jeez, get this show going. Playoffs.
For real.
Welcome everyone to NFL Nation Live, our Week 19 show. Ref Guru, Captain Jack, and the Hall of Famer, Violator Mabry with you again this week. We'll close the books on week 18. Get you ready for week 19. We're going to open up the chat. Thanks everybody for joining us. Some stuff blowing in all there already. So what do we got here? Pleasure meeting my bro Violator finally in Vegas. Yeah. How
What's
about
up,
that?
Oso? Love you, man.
Yeah. All right. And real Justin. Oh, I guess hard for me to see from here. Alina. Good.
That's real Justin Linear.
Linear. Aha. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
All right. So last week, I know we'll get ready to week 18 in a minute, but last week we said if the Raiders win, we're going to give away a whole bunch of stuff this week. Well, they didn't win, so I'm on the fence about whether or not we're going to give something away.
You give half of it away.
We could give half of it away. Yeah, we might. You know. So one of the trivia, I'll give you all the trivia question right now. Okay. So you have time to research it before we go to break. Of the playoff teams that are left, right? And there's what, 14?
14 right now.
Yeah, 14 teams. How many Super Bowl rematches are available on the board?
Wow.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, if it's Cowboys Bills, that counts as one rematch. We're not asking you to count up
all four.
That counts as one rematch, even though they played each other twice. But of all the teams that are left, how many Super Bowl rematch combinations are still available?
Yeah, I you know what? If I knew all the teams that were there, I would have this. So I got it right, even without. I'm telling you, I would get it right without looking, but I would need to know what the teams are. So I'm out of this trivia.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Anyway, so just let me know. Let me know what you think. I was actually going to do that math myself, and I was on the meds, forgot to do it. But maybe we'll have to go through that in the second half of the show.
By the way, one of those rematches happened twice too, and it wasn't Cowboys Bills because I know another one based upon the teams that are in. There was another one that would happen twice as well. See, I have this.
Yeah, so like San Francisco, Cincinnati, that happened twice. So,
yeah,
so anything that's happened twice, ignore the second time. We're only looking for the single matchup. So maybe we should all do that on the air as the guests start coming in. 4? No, I know it's not 4. But that's a nice guess. By the way, the winner shall receive.
There you go.
The newest edition of our Steel Creations mug. Can you all see that? Did I have it upside down?
Raider Nation. Is that Raider Nation?
Yes, Raider Nation and an NFL Nation Live logo on it. It is our typical Steel Creations mug. It's exact match to the other sets that we have. The difference is the ones we've been giving away are white that have me or V on the other side. This one is black. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got like a football field motif on it. And I got to get my camera. It says Raider Nation on it. It says, so anybody's eligible tonight to win that. But if you've got any of the other mugs, it's already super cool. Is Ed Winchell on tonight? I don't know. I know he was on. I haven't seen him yet. I know
he was on Wild Wild West. So
yeah, he was.
If he's not here, it's because he has a date. Oh yes, he is.
He's got a date with us. What the hell? Nobody goes out on Wednesday.
Right here. Look, he's front and center. What's up, Ed?
You know what I'm saying. We're not.
Yeah.
Nobody but Matuzak goes out on Wednesday. That's why we do the show on Wednesday. Not date night unless you're with us, but.
Well, Ed's old school too, so he's probably had a few of those.
Oh, somebody says yes, he is. Anyway, so if you got a question for Ed, go ahead. My date has to wait. Well, good for you. I'm glad you have your priorities straight. Hey, Kev. All right, let's close the books on week 18. Atlanta beat Tampa Bay. Nobody cares. New England lost to Buffalo. Coach B, you're out. We put you on the clock a while ago, but you're definitely. When did we put you on the clock? Oh, we put you on the clock in week 17, Coach. So we left you around for a little bit, but you're done now. So there ain't no moving on to nothing but April drafts. What's up with you, man?
We're on to the draft.
I
would say we're on to the Pro Bowl, but I'm not in the Pro Bowl, so we're
but you're going down to the Shrine game, right? Where you're going to do a bunch of scouting, right?
No? Yeah. Well, I'm going to do a lot of drinking.
Well, that too, and then you got the combine coming up in February, right?
And I'll be doing more drinking.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. Indianapolis isn't dry, but it's slow.
Well, I mean, first off, you need to do a lot of drinking when you go to Indianapolis because there's nothing to see there other than the racetrack.
I don't know. You go down
Oh, wait a second. There's that restaurant
uh,
that
West Lafayette.
you were telling me about. That was like the name of the movie, right?
Oh yeah, St. Elmo's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two things, but they don't have a wild orchid there.
Not named that, no, but there's one on East Washington Avenue.
Okay, what's the address? What's the numbers? East Washington.
I can't say it out loud. I'm at home.
Oh, okay. Well, you could text it to me.
I could text it to you. Yeah.
That
was back in the day.
Dude, I've grown to become to like you after all of these games.
Yeah.
Which is very rare for me to say anything about people that are dressed like you. But you're okay for an a-hole zebra. I'm just gonna say
all right. I'm glad I'm moving up on your shit list. Coach B, special teams toasted you for 290 plus touchdown returns. What say you?
Well, first off, I want to say that it was scripted, the first one.
Yeah. Why didn't you give up 3 of them then? Come on, you can be a player. I mean, if you're going to get beat, you might as well.
See, no, now you're going down on my list again. Okay.
Sorry.
You're not allowing me to talk. Okay.
Go ahead.
I said the first one was scripted. The other people took advantage of it. I said, I'm going to give you one for 3. Okay. Number 3, he gets the original right off the bat touchdown off the kickoff. The other guys didn't. Remember a couple of weeks ago when I said that people didn't get the memo? They didn't get the memo. One was a freebie. Yep. They didn't get the memo. And you know what? That is why I didn't pay him after the game for the things I was supposed to pay. And Kraft said that they rescinded the Wild Orchid trip for the folks in Buffalo because in Buffalo it gets cold and you need to have a little rub and tug in the off season, but they don't want to have that yet. So we rescinded that because they did us wrong. One was given. It was blessings, remembering, remember number 3, but they took advantage of the New England Belichick's niceties and we took the Wild Orchid trip away. I'm just saying.
Do tell.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us, Coach. Appreciate it. We'll have you back because there's still a lot to talk about even as we move through the playoffs. We might get your take on Week 19 once we start talking about that. We have some other business.
Yeah, I'll be here. I'm going to go take a nap again. I'll wake me up.
You should do that. Yeah, you should do that.
We'll turn the volume down.
Remember, when the coach naps, he naps hard.
Copy that. Well, that's yeah, right. JB came back with 7. No, it's not 7. Pretty sure it's not 7. But we got you for 7 if it is 7. We're going to go through that here just a little bit. I think it would be a pretty fun exercise, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota beat Chicago. Cincinnati beat Baltimore. They'll probably beat them again this week. Yeah. The Lions went into Green Bay in a game it really didn't matter except for pride and beat the Packers. Obviously, the Packers really weren't ready to play. The Lions were ready to play. They got their business done, which was to finish out their season in relatively decent fashion, even though they missed the playoffs. Although I think they're probably one of the best teams to not make the playoffs.
And we were robbed. We were robbed. I'm going to go to the NFL office. Hey, you guy with the striped shirt, do you have any balls in the NFL office? We were robbed. We were screwed over. They said,
robbed how? You won the game.
Over Detroit. Detroit does not need to be effed over. Detroit is a French province, and we got screwed without benefit of KY.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is what it is. Ed says the Lions' best team not in the playoffs. I can't argue with that. Look, guys, one of the stats that we keep track of on this show is points scored. And let me tell you, out of the top 11 teams in scoring, Detroit, the only team to not make the playoffs. So that's why scoring points and the points matter. The over-under matters too, right? In what you've scored versus what you've given up. Because if you're
scored too many times with the girls that were under me, so I don't want to hear about over-under. I was over them, they were under me, and I scored. And I tell you, that is the reason why this is screwed. We got screwed without benefit of KY.
Well, you won the game, so go
That's
Go-
the only good thing. I told you.
Go cry in the locker room.
Chuck says that's why look out for Devon next year. We are going
Okay,
all
we
the
will.
way.
Yeah. Well, I promise you one thing: we will not put Detroit on the clock in week 1. We'll give you a
There
little
you
bit.
go. Hey, we got Stu in the house too. Ref.
Raiders need Ben Johnson.
I don't know what coach said to you, but you're growing on me too. So maybe it's because I've had too much to drink already.
Hey, whatever it is,
I've had some rosé. I'm going to go back and drink some more.
Okay, well, whatever Kool-Aid you're drinking, keep it up. Houston went into Indianapolis, beat the Colts, gave up the number 1 pick, and it got Lovie Smith fired. So, will they flip the coin for the Bengals? No, they don't have to now because they beat the Ravens.
Wow.
I think the coin flip thing was if Baltimore beat Cincinnati, then they were going to have to flip a coin, but they don't have to do that now because Cincinnati won. But the thing is, Cincinnati was the division champs anyway, so I don't understand why they were flipping a coin. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. I guess they kind of had to based on the Week 18 game not played by. I don't know. I just think what's going to happen. The Chargers will beat Jacksonville, and Jacksonville goes, and then the Chargers will go to Kansas City. Cincinnati's going to go back to Buffalo. Well, I'm just saying, if they do, that's what the NFL wants to have happen because then you got the Bengals going back into Buffalo for the rematch that never got played in the first place.
Yep.
How did Seattle make it over Detroit? Well, because they beat the Rams.
That's true.
See, Detroit had a better conference record. 7-5-6-6. Hey man, I don't make the rules. But
we got Mr. Schweigert in here, guys. What's up, Stu?
Really?
Wow. He wants to come aboard.
Hey, come on aboard, man. Is he in the chat or is he trying to get in?
I just saw him in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome.
Shoot him the link.
Always nice to have a safety.
Shoot him the link if he wants to come in.
Let me copy it. Oh man, that's a long one, man.
Well, wait a minute. That's the simulcast link, Cap. That's not the link to join the show.
Okay. Well, then you got to send it to me. Then I'll send it to Stu.
Yeah. Well, give me a second here, and I'll. My brain's.
All right, we get you. Brother. Hey, keep hammering. Keep hammering.
Not functioning the way it
keep hammering.
Thank you.
You know we got you, bro. You know we got you.
Oh, he says thanks, Violator. Thanks, Stu.
Hey.
All right. So
straight up dude, man. Straight up dude.
Okay, hang on. I'm working it. Okay, so I think I can private chat him. Cap, can he see the private chat?
Only if he's back there already.
Oh, I see. So you want me to email it to you? Or what?
Yeah, no, send it to me in a text message, and then I will forward it to Stu.
There you go.
I got to figure out how to.
I like that, Kev. Whiskey Wednesday.
I got to figure out how to send it from my computer to a text message.
Oh wait, he's calling me now. Hang on a second. I'm gonna mute the mic.
Okay. Thanks everybody for hanging on. We're
this is live
Whiskey Wednesday. Yeah, I hear
live streaming, baby. Live streaming.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We got time.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how to get that text message to him. I wonder if I can email it to myself. This out.
Appreciate him coming on, man. That's one of the real.
Absolutely.
Right huh?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
Now I wonder if Stu would have gotten thrown out of the game. I want to ask him that when he comes on.
You mean with a sign, or
I've seen some
you
crazy
mean
stuff.
If he was holding,
kind of like
you mean if he was holding
that
sign?
same sign?
Oh, yeah. That well, I don't know.
I just want to put it out there. I'm sure everybody else is curious too. It almost borderline censorship. You know, while we're just filling in some time here, to me that was almost like censorship. And right now, freedom of speech is almost at risk, like everything else, gun laws and all that stuff. But
yeah.
To throw a season ticket holder out of the game, I would say take the sign if you don't like what it says. but don't kick the guy out. That wasn't a good look.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that front. Totally agree with you on that front.
For stating his opinion on a sign. Come on, really?
Well, I mean, you give up your free speech just because you go into the stadium. I don't think that's cool.
And he's a paying customer too. So
well, there's that.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that part. I've seen worse stuff on signs. I still got my sign says chuck 'em, and everybody knows what that relates to.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on, Cap. I'm still working this for you.
I think I gave Stu the URL from above, so hopefully,
yeah.
Hopefully
it
in, works.
Brother. He says he's got a comment too.
Well, I'm sure he does.
Yeah. Okay. And we're talking about Vegas Ralph, I take it.
Yeah, Vegas Ralph.
Yeah,
that's it.
Right.
Hey, what's up, brother? We got you.
Here's the thing. Okay. And this is the plus and the minus. Okay. Vegas Ralph showed everybody what I mean, he gave his opinion for what a lot of us were thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And it's true. We do deserve better, but here's the flip side. It does show that Mark Davis is very thin-skinned about negative comments. I mean, beyond a doubt.
Well,
but by the same token, if I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken, if he's kind of like running the show, it's kind of like a bartender said, we refuse the right to refuse service to anyone.
Well, but maybe, but the thing is, it shows you what you guys have said prior, though, that they're targeting fans. They're actively targeting fans, and this is another example of it. They can't brush this aside by saying, "Oh, well, we don't want those types," meaning you guys dressed in battle gear at the games. This is a fan not dressed in anything but street clothes. By the way, Cap, I emailed you the link.
Okay.
So you can copy that and send it in a text if you want.
Okay, I will do that too. Stu, give me a second. If the link I sent to you, Stu, if the link I sent you in Instagram doesn't work, give me a second and I will send it via text.
It says, Matthew says, I bet if the sign had said, "See you at Hooters or PF Chang's," Mark would have given him his guy's own box. Yeah, probably so. And a coupon. Raiders should have moved to Vegas. Well, there's that argument as well, too. All right, we'll continue on, Cap, while you're doing that, because we want to get to week 19 and some other business as well.
Yes, sir.
Tennessee got beat by Jacksonville and gave the Jaguars the division. Tennessee lost their last 7 games and went home. We put Tennessee on the clock last week along with Detroit before they even played week 18, so we knew they were out. The Jets went into Miami and got beaten a stinker, man, 11-6. They gave up the safety at the end, and the Miami win put the Steelers out. Somebody said earlier, I think it was Ed, that Detroit was the best team that didn't make the playoffs. I would argue that Pittsburgh was playing pretty well also and didn't make the playoffs. Maybe not as well as Detroit, but they were competitive enough, and they would have been far more competitive than Miami will be this week in Buffalo. Carolina beat New Orleans, no surprise there. The Giants lost, no surprise there. This is a game the Giants didn't have to win. They was close. I mean, 6 points. Would have been nice if they'd have won, but it still wouldn't have mattered because Dallas lost to Tampa Bay. So Dallas wasn't going to win the division anyway. So the key here, V, is that the Giants, they took a loss that didn't matter, so to speak, except on the scoreboard and in the record books, but they didn't get anybody hurt, essentially, if you will. In a division game, you go up to play Philly, you can get knocked around pretty good. They're going to survive that and now go to Minnesota to play the Vikings.
Well, I say that's going to be short-lived because, Minnesota took care of business like they needed to do in Chicago, and it started Chicago going into they're already into the off season and what they're going to do. They need to get some help with Justin Fields. I heard their coach today say something about to the effect that he can run. Basically, I'm just paraphrasing. He can run, but he's not an accurate passer. So, are they going to draft another QB wide receiver or offensive lineman to protect Justin Fields.
Well, it could be any of those things, quite frankly.
Well, if they want a QB that can run and is inaccurate, they can go ahead and draft Richardson out of Florida in the draft, and he's a lot bigger than Justin Fields too.
Didn't they get Porky the Pig from the Raiders to block somebody, or is that just blocking doorway? Didn't they get somebody?
Yeah, they got him. Yeah, they got him.
They got an O-line. They got an O-line guy from the Raiders, didn't they?
I haven't heard much of. I don't even know if he's still on the roster. To be honest,
I don't know. I don't remember who it was.
The Bears. Never mind. I know what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't even know if he's on
the Bears got some offensive lineman that was supposed to be, God's gift to left tackles or whatever.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't cut out for that.
No, I agree with you on that front. We said that prior before him even leaving Las Vegas. As per usual, Dallas falls on their face. Well, they're going to have to definitely play better this week. And I don't know what, I tell you what, if they won 12 games or whatever, and they get dumped by Tampa Bay in a one and done. I'm saying right now, I think McCarthy's done, and Sean Payton's going to be the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
There's been some chatter about that today.
Let's see. Cleveland got beat by Pittsburgh. Dallas got beat by Washington. Chargers went to Denver, got beat by the Broncos. Broncos just playing inspired football at the end of the season. Quite frankly, I was surprised that that the Chargers kept so many of their starters in so late in the game that didn't really matter. I mean, I know you want to try to win the game, but you got to. Here's the thing, V. They got a playoff game this week. Of course, last week it was next week, right? This week, but more important, not only do they have a playoff game after their game in Denver, but it's on Saturday on the road in Jacksonville. So I think it's a competitive issue for me that happened. But before we go too much further, I'd like to welcome in Raider legend Stu Schweigert. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thank you very much for letting me on. I don't know why I can't sign on through my computer, so I'm going through my phone here. So forgive me if the audio and video kind of suck.
It's working for us.
Yeah, it works for us, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm repping both my Lions and my Raiders. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously my true love is the Raiders, but the Lions definitely are a team that, I grew up watching, a team that I had a chance to play for, and a team that I love as well as the Raiders. So, and their head coach is a guy I played with when I was in Detroit. So I have a lot of respect for what they're doing for the community and the city. So, anyways, yes. So, Violator, thank you very much. I appreciate you giving me a shout out there so that Jack knew I was in there. And hey, Jack, my wife was like, hey, just so you know, I got a message last night from Captain Jack or whatever, and I was already asleep. So I apologize I couldn't make it on the show last night, but definitely pulled up right now, and I appreciate you guys letting me on. So can we go back about 15 minutes with what you guys were just talking about the sign? I'd like to hear you guys' opinion on that, and let me have the floor for about 10 or 15 minutes if you don't mind.
Ooh.
You guys go. I'm going to do some Super Bowl math while you're
Go for it, Stu.
Well, no, hold on. No. I want to make sure I get everyone's opinion first, so I know what you guys' thoughts are.
I did. Like I said, it's that it is a free, a First Amendment. You are allowed to voice your opinion, and his voice was echoed by a lot of the people that are in there. Okay. Right. But the flip side of that is that Mark showed himself as being a very thin-skinned owner that doesn't want to hear the opinions of any of the fans because it's his way or the highway.
Okay, are you done there?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, Violator, how about you?
Just seeing it, Stu, it kind of moved me because when we can't come in to a place that we love, to root for a team that we love, and when they're not putting a product on the field that's satisfactory to us, and somebody puts on a sign just expressing that, which is echoing all of us That's the way I took it. And to see what happened to him, I would say take the sign from him if you don't want it shown. You know the cameras are going to jump on that, but to kick the guy out wasn't a good look. And you had opposing fans pleading for him not to get kicked out.
Well, the full story though is that he did come back later, and a lot of people don't know that. He did come back later without the sign and sat there and was pissed.
Wow. What? Now I know there was two sides to it. What did each side say?
Well, the side that
one side
I think
says
the
we
side
deserve better.
Yeah, and Fire McDaniels was the one that got him ousted.
Yeah.
What's up, Steve? Thanks for coming on.
So,
yes. If you're just joining, sorry, Stuart, didn't mean to step on you there. If you're just joining us on NFL Nation Live, this is our Week 19 show. Ref Guru, along with Violator and Captain Jack, and our special guest, former Raiders standout Stu Schweigert. Thanks for joining us tonight, sir.
And thank you very much for letting me come on, because this is a topic that I spoke with it on Doc's show. I've spoken it on my show, and I want to start with a couple things here. So, when I hear, and Violator, you know, I love you very much. I love Jack very much, and I'm getting to know you, Guru. But when you say that a team that we love and a place that we love, how is it that a Raiders fan wearing a Derek Carr jersey is getting kicked out because he's being negative to the team that he supposedly loves and supports? That's the first thing that I never understood. When I hear a fan tell me, I love my team, I love this, and you're going to be negative and be kicked out of a game because you are promoting negative vibes towards the team that you represent. I remember when I was a rookie and we went to Indianapolis, and I remember these fans behind us, just the rudest, most foul, disrespectful things. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, I would not think Indianapolis fans would act this way. Playing 4 years at Purdue, living in Indiana. I turn around and there's two Raiders fans being kicked out of the game in Indianapolis for talking trash to the Raiders. So I'm sitting here thinking, when I hear a team that I love and a team that I support, you don't do that negatively, because first of all, Mark Davis is in lineage with Al Davis, and we all know what Al Davis did for the organization, for the Raiders, and really what he provided for the NFL to make the NFL successful. The NFL is a huge part of America, and it's a $12 billion business. The amount of money, the jobs it creates would not be possible if Al Davis wasn't involved. And here's a guy, Mark Davis, who took a team that, when someone says they never should have left Oakland, guys, do you realize trying to get a free agent to come to Oakland, how tough that was to do? Not only because of the environment that outside people have the impression on. Here's what happened every time, guys. The guys want to come, and the wives are going, I'm not raising my family in Oakland. Are you crazy? There's no way. I loved Oakland, but the outside perception, that's tough to get past. Secondly, stadium's falling apart. Stadium was atrocious, fellas.
Yeah.
The stadium, it rained. We had to have buckets in our locker room to catch dripping down water, right? The stadium is a baseball stadium, first of all. It's green and yellow. It's hard to even look at it and go, is this our stadium, or are we an away team? On top of that, so not only do you have the area and its bad reputation, which is again, I loved Oakland. I love the people there. I enjoyed my time there. But again, it's known to be a rough area. The facilities, not only the stadium, 1220 Harbor Bay Parkway, guys, compared to the rest of the NFL, it was it was like dealing with in the 1800s compared to where other teams were at. Okay. So again, facilities are very, very important. I mean, we didn't have a kitchen. We had to buy our own lunches. I mean, it was by the airport. There was no, we didn't have any indoor facility. I mean, it was lacking immensely. On top of that, the cost of living, not only in California, but the Bay Area. Here's the deal. They don't account for that when guys get drafted. You are drafted per position, not to where you go. So taking what Mark Davis, the vision that he had, and here's the other thing, guys. Every year, the NFL is a business, right?
Yeah.
How do you promote? How do you build these new stadiums? How do you build these facilities? It takes money. Every year, Gene Upshaw would come in. He was the head of our NFLPA. Never met him personally. Don't know if he did a great job or not. I know he's a Raider legend. I respect him for that. But other than that, don't know much about the guy. The Raiders were always 30, at the highest, 30th out of 32 teams with shared revenue. Back in 2004, 5, and 6, the Washington Redskins were always number one. At one, and I think the Redskins were the first team to be worth over $1 billion. They were worth over $1 billion. The Raiders were like $666 million, almost half of that. Now moving to Vegas, and what Mark Davis has done with that $2 billion state-of-the-art stadium, the practice facilities, buying the aces, and hiring former Raiders players' wives to run the program there. That alone, Devontae Adams, I think if you were to look at Green Bay's offer, they offered him, I think, $7 million more. He would be taking less money by going to Green Bay just off of Wisconsin state tax. Nevada has no state tax, fellas. That's saving guys $7 to $8 to $9 million sometimes in their contracts. So now you look at it going, if I'm a free agent, why in the hell would I not go to Las Vegas? Okay.
I honestly, and I get everything that you're saying. And again, sorry for cutting you off, but I think that the intent of the sign was that.
Well, you haven't let me get there now.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm building up to it, okay? And I appreciate that very much. But again, this is something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
So then you're sitting here and you have Mark Davis, who is you don't think that Mark Davis in every waking hour is trying to do the best for that organization?
No, that goes without saying, because he's done everything since he's been afforded the opportunity to go to Vegas, to go to that new stadium, to get into the business dealings. Mark is, at least in that respect, like his father. He's all about getting the Raiders settled and having people come into the franchise that want to be wearing for the shield. I firmly believe that. It's all about
so there you have if you talk about the shield, he's at the number one spot, fellas. All right. I don't care how much ego people have and how long they've been part of the team and if they've played and if they make this and if they have these many fans. Mark Davis is number one when it comes to the Raiders. And then he goes out and trust me, he has the research he's done and what he is hiring and getting rid of people and bringing people in that he thinks is best for the organization, with McDaniels being a huge part of that. And then not only that, let's talk about this. Free speech, absolutely. Absolutely, people have free speech. But remember, just because you have free speech, what you say, there are repercussions for that.
Yes, and I said that.
Anyone can come up to me and say, hey, you know what, Stu, you're a blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's free speech, but you know what? There's consequences that come with that. And you may not like those consequences. So you're telling me the amount of time and money and effort and the life that Mark Davis has given to this organization and what he has done and how he's taken this organization to the next level. Because it was dying in Oakland, fellas. It was dying. It was going nowhere fast. He moves it down there. We have the ability to get these free agents. We have the ability to make money, to bring in the best players and hire the best coaches, right? And then you have fans wearing a jersey of an organization that your father made, saying we deserve better and fire McDaniels. He hired McDaniels.
And
That's
I
a decision that he made. So someone said, and first of all, guys, fire McDaniels for what? Because he benched Carr?
no see and see I did not agree with that sign, but the "we deserve better" sign I think is an indictment.
We deserve better from who, fellas? From who?
I think that what he is talking about, and since I actually spoke with Ralph, I spoke with Ralph in a parking lot in the airport when I got off my flight on Monday. I didn't even make it home, and he was on another show, and I was on for an hour and a half before I even went home. What he is pissed about is an indictment of the team, that a team that was a playoff team last year, and we are now a 6-11
and you guys
team.
remember
Now,
how
I
hard we
firmly
were
believe,
and crucial we were on those coaches and everyone a part of that staff, correct?
well, I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that, Stu.
Do you remember how critical and hard we were on that staff that we had last year, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
think those guys, do you think those coaches wanted to coach for that organization after taking them to the playoffs and people are saying they're trash, the coaches are junk, they're terrible?
Well, as a matter of fact, I actually like, and I know this is very hard for a lot of Raider fans to hear, but I actually like the fact that Mark went outside of the organization to get people that have a track record of being in a class and I got to say class organization because of where they come from, New England, and that's hard to say. It just the vitriol.
Guys, why is
saying
that hard to say? Do you want us getting guys from Cleveland or Miami or Carolina? If you're going to go out and you're going to bring people from an organization, wouldn't you want to bring in people from the greatest organization that's been around?
That's what I'm saying, Stu. But and that's why I said I do not agree with the second sign. I do not agree with that, because you can't give McDaniels only 1 year when he's starting to institute a system that he thinks is going to work, and then you have a defensive guy come in and has only 1 year to get his defense. I don't agree with that one.
Here is where the disconnect is. We have fans mad at McDaniels, right?
Yeah.
We have fans mad at Mark Davis.
Right.
Yeah.
Where should fans where should they put their anger and disappointment and we need better? Where should that be directed?
It should be directed at the players that are
bingo,
playing
right
the game.
there. Right there. I don't care how bad, good. I'd say 70%. Because here's the deal. From Mark Davis to the guy who cleans the parking lot, every win and loss, everyone's got a part in that.
Yeah.
Some are a lot more than others. But when you come down to it, 70% of wins and losses, maybe high, maybe 80, on the players. Why are we not asking the players to be better? Why are we not saying,
whoa, time. It's when and I am saying for Ralph, I'm going to talk for me right now, because I know where Ralph was coming from. Ralph is definitively pissed off at the franchise. He's pissed off at Mark Davis.
About
what? I said
pissed off about what? What is he mad about?
Vegas Ralph, and I know him personally, Vegas Ralph is one of those people that doesn't like the fact that Davis stepped out of the organization, where I like the fact that because we were going.
What do you mean stepped
we
out
were
of the
going-
organization for
we
what?
weren't going anywhere, but we need some new
Stepped
blood.
out of the organization for what?
Stu, please. I applaud the fact that Mark Davis went outside of the Raiders organization to a winning organization and pick coaches that win with a winning organization.
Where would else would he go outside the? What is he going to do? Go inside the organization for what? I don't understand what you mean by going.
Well, there are those that are kind of like the old school. These are Raiders people. You have that.
Who?
Well, Tom Flores for one. So Stu, I think some of the frustration is
Wait,
if I
hold
could
on,
just
wait,
step in.
Tom Flores. You're saying bring Tom Flores back as
No,
a coach?
no. Hold on. What I'm saying is that I think some of the noise in we're all very interested in hearing what you have to say because we don't get this chance. And I think as fans, that's one of our frustrations is that we don't get that chance. So you're helping us to get that chance. So for that, we are grateful.
No, and I respect you guys. And just so you know, when I speak, I'm not speaking to you. You, unfortunately, Cap, you are like representing the whole organization. I'm not. When I'm talking, I'm asking you questions. It's not you.
No, but yeah. Stu, I think some of the noise in this conversation, not all of it, but some of it from the fans' perspective, whether it's right or wrong, is that particularly the older guard fans, if you will, don't. When I said Tom Flores, no, I'm not talking about Tom Flores bringing back. What I'm talking about is that Tom Flores was promoted after John Madden retired. And so one of the pieces of the noise in this conversation, again, as fans, right or wrong, I'm just going to state it for what it is that there's a sense that Mark Davis does not have the football savvy, not business side, maybe. We can't speak to that, but the football savviness that his dad did. And so the moves that we see that Mark makes counter what we've been accustomed to seeing as Raider fans, and either we don't know how to adapt to the new way of thinking or the new way of business, or we're right that he's just not football smart, and that's the frustration in part for some of the fans. That's just my opinion at this point in the juncture within the context of what is becoming here a very important conversation. So I just want to lay it at the table for what it's worth at that level.
So no, and I completely understand that. The deal is, though, as an owner, you don't need to know about football. The owner is responsible for making that franchise money, and what he does, he goes out and hires the guys that know football, and lets them do their job.
Okay, but we got spoiled. I just want to add to that. You're right, and I'm okay with that. But you have to understand, as the older guard Raider fans got spoiled that we had both in Al, and if our expectation is that we're not going to have that with Mark, maybe we need to readjust our expectations. But I think that there's some sense as well, given your statement, and I'll let you finish because I really didn't want to cut you off there, though, that we're not seeing him make very good moves there either.
Okay, hold on. So you don't think Mark's not making good business decisions to make the team money? You know that they're the second.
No. It's not about.
No, he's making the Raiders money.
No, he's making all kinds of money. Nobody's arguing about his ability to make money. All the things
let me
we
ask
talked
you
about.
this. Listen, guys. I love Al Davis more than anybody. He gave me the opportunity, right? I respect Al Davis. He respected me. But you know what? He was also very critical of me. When's the last time, how many years has it been when Al Davis has made a great football decision with either coaching, free agency, whatever?
You mean in the latter part of this year?
Before he passed away.
He
wasn't making them at the very end, no.
So
probably,
I know I'm not.
Probably 1984.
So I mean, like you like that. Like that's the thing, though. Is it's been so long. Like, unfortunately, it's
It
a
has
double-edged
been
sword.
long, but what I'm agreeing with you is that the fans have not been able to let that go. We've expected it to continue.
What does Kraft know about? What does Robert Kraft know about football?
Well, nothing. Probably.
How many
He's-
Super Bowl championships has he won?
7 or 6.
You know what he
6,
did?
yeah.
He says, you know what? I don't know shit about football. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hire the best guys that do know about football. Unfortunately,
So how long has
football
Mark
is
had the
very
team?
high ego. Football
So how long is
very high ego.
So how long has Mark had the team?
Well, wait now. Wait a second. Mark Davis is not the owner, folks. I'm gonna pound my foot in the ground on that. Carol Davis is still the owner, and Carol allows Mark to run the franchise. I just got to say that.
All right.
Because
okay.
I just so everybody knows, because people forget that.
What that statement right there may be the whole issue that we're dealing with. But
well, let me tell you this: what you just brought up is a perfect example. How long has he owned it? 2011, or when not owned it, but when did he?
Yeah. Okay.
Take it over.
So when after his dad passed in roughly late 2011, and how many smart football people has he hired in the last 10 years? He doesn't have a very good track record.
Here's the deal. He was trying to make everybody happy. He was trying to do what his dad did. That doesn't work anymore. That does not work anymore. So finally, you know what he did? He said, I'm going to do what I think works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move the team, and I'm going to start hiring guys that he even went back and brought in a guy that his dad hired, Gruden.
Yeah.
And Gruden didn't do a damn thing. Did not do a thing. He tried that. He tried to do what his father did. It didn't work. So you know what he's doing? I tried that. Let me do what I think is right.
Right. And I actually applaud that. Stu, I am one of the very few people, trust me on this, because I hear about it from everybody. I'm one of the very few people that said I applaud the fact that Mark went and thought outside of the box.
I also want to ask you this. Does Mark Davis go and make anybody buy season tickets? Does he force?
He doesn't need to, because Raider fans are the most faithful fans, the most diehard fans.
Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. Don't lump all that in together. Do not lump all that in together. There are some that are the best in any sport, but there are a lot that are pretty bad.
Well, there's some comments. There's some comments going on in the chat that I think are important, and then I think that what some of our fans are saying, Stuart, is that we can probably agree that we have different perspectives, and we're trying to learn each other from both sides of this. And I think one of the things is that when I say we, I'm talking about fans, have not had the inside spokesperson perspective that you're providing tonight. We've got a little pushback in the chat that we're, off of our regular script here, which is fine for this particular show. But I think, here's
the deal. If the fans are upset that I'm talking, I'll get off, and you guys can continue with the playoff stuff. That's fine. I'm sorry to the fans, but one of my jobs, I feel, for me, is to provide the perspective of someone who actually played for the organization, someone who knows these coaches, players, knows how you are supposed to conduct yourself as a Raider. And I'm going to tell you this, for Derek Carr not to be at those games is mind-blowing to me, is a perfect example of what type of person he is and the character that he has, that he could not be there to help Stidham. Or what if Stidham got hurt?
Right.
Derek Carr's right back in there.
No, he's not there, Stu, because the decision was made, and it was purely a financial decision.
That is not true. That is not true.
Do you really think that if Stidham got hurt, that they would play Derek Carr against the defenses like the Niners?
Who else are they going to put in, guys?
They would throw in
Carr
Garbers.
wasn't even
By
there.
the way, if Garbers would get hurt, they would figure out, okay, who played quarterback in high school and college, and
Hold on 1 second. Time out. I've been talking a lot. Jack, you've been talking a lot. Guru, Violator. What do you think?
With the whole Carr not being there, or
Yeah.
Carr being put on the bench?
Say that again.
As far as Derek not being there or Derek being benched,
Him not being there to support a team that for 10 years has given him every opportunity to be successful and paid him handsomely to really do what? Not win one playoff game?
Well,
and he's going to say,
Stu, when I say we were talking about us fans, we were told as fans that Carr was put in the closet, so to speak, or away from the team because if he got injured, they'd have to pay him his $40 million. They didn't want to pay him.
But who told you this?
The media.
What media?
That's where we got it from. The
people
media.
That are reporting out of Las Vegas that are assigned to cover the NFL.
Which I understand, and I would hope that me coming on saying, no, that's not true. That's not what happened. This is actually what happened. Okay, yeah, all right.
But it was odd that he's not there, like you say, in support spiritually or
right. So we're just appreciating your perspective.
Yeah, we'd like to
clarity.
see your
not
perspective of it. Yeah,
we're not arguing against you.
Guys, listen, you aren't. That's the problem. You're not upsetting me by disagreeing or being whatever. That's the problem, fellas.
No, we got. Hey, and Stu, here's the thing, and we only
I love this opportunity. Listen, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, that's fine.
Stu, what I'm saying is this. We only have so much intelligence because you know what I do.
Right.
We only have so much intelligence.
No, I totally understand that.
And there are people like you who have inside information, right? Because you are a former player. You do have your sources within the locker room and the organization. But here's the point. Unless somebody tells me X, Y, and Z, I can only go by what I've been told. And what we've been told is they put Carr in bubble wrap because they didn't want to pay $40 million, and rightfully so, by the way. And this is the other thing, if they were under the auspices that they're not going to have him on the team, that's the right move. It's not the nice move. It's not the move that people like.
Here's the deal. You guys have all been fans for a long time, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys have all been fans for a long time.
52 years.
50-something years.
You guys are very intelligent. I would hope that you would listen to media and say, okay, first of all, they have their agendas to begin with, right?
True.
But I would hope that you would formulate your own. I'm asking what your opinions are about these type of things, and I would hope after all the years you would be able to go, you know what? That sounds like a bunch of BS.
Well, see, that's the point, Stu. I take what the media says, and I take what Derek Carr has in his heart and his head, and I know for a fact it pisses him off to be away from the facilities because there's nothing more.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. He had that was his decision. So to say that that was his decision to tuck his tail, cry like a little baby, which we've already seen in public, to do that. If he wanted to be there, he would be there. That's called being a professional.
Okay.
And what he showed, just like earlier, when Darren Waller didn't make that preseason game because he was watching his girlfriend play, that would never happen, ever, during any of my time or any time before my time. Ever. Okay. And I said this. I talked about earlier on, what's preseason mean? Which is anyone saying preseason doesn't matter is completely wrong to begin with. When I saw Jacobs out there playing, I said, this kid's going to have a great year. Because he went out there and played in that preseason game. People, they made him this and that. BS. That was his decision. to say, I want to get ready for this season. So when you talk about guys' decisions to come and support their team and perform and choose, that's not when you're under contract, fellas. Can you just not show up to your job?
No.
You can't if they tell you you're not supposed to be there to save $40 million.
No one told him that. That was his decision as a player not to show up.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, that would be news to us, and that again, as part of the whole piece of it, it's good to hear the perspective.
My whole point is, guys, hold the players accountable. That's all I'm saying. Don't place blame on the coaches, on the GM, the president, the owner. It comes down to the 11 guys on that field, fellas. Please.
Yeah.
I was held accountable when I played. Fans were up my you-know-what, which they could be.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now I'm hearing guys talking. I'm like, what happened to the rate? Like the fan, like let's put our fire and our love for the organization in the right place. Not against Mark Davis, not against McDaniels. You don't think McDaniels wants to win every single game that as a coach? How are you judged as a coach at the end of your career?
Wins
and losses.
Yep.
He wants to win every single game that he can. Trust me.
You know what? I firmly believe that, Stu, but getting back to the original point, and trust me, if you don't think that man up there or that man up there, and we don't hold players accountable, then you haven't been watching our show.
So you know what? Then hold fans accountable. We want support. We want an organization that supports our team. We don't want to battle and be against the organization and the coaches.
Well,
like, what type of support is that?
Okay. Then I further say, if I don't support the organization, or if Wayne Violator Mabry doesn't support the organization, we wouldn't be out at every freaking game, because he goes to every game and I go to most every game, and I support the Raiders and the Shield and all that.
I'm not talking about you guys.
No, Stu, I get it. But here's the thing: there are diehards, and there are people that are not diehards.
And the last thing, and I promise you, I'm going to get off. But for 30 minutes, they spoke with him, and I guarantee you, they said, "Hey, listen, if you just put that sign down, and I guarantee it's my right." Well, then it's all.
I didn't do that.
No, it's also Mark's right to say you got to go.
Yeah, and I said that. It is the owner's right.
If somebody were to come in your house or your job,
service with anybody.
Is there not a consideration, though, Stu, and maybe there doesn't have to be, and I'm okay with that, but isn't there some consideration that the optics look really bad when you do that to somebody who paid to go to the game?
No, you're setting precedents. Hey, listen, in this stadium, we support our team. Has there been any videos of an opposing fan getting kicked out for talking trash to the Raiders?
Not to my knowledge.
Have we seen any videos of that?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Not to my knowledge,
yet,
Stu, no.
Time after time, we see Raiders fans getting kicked out of Raiders games for talking trash to the Raiders. Does that make any sense? And I'm done. That's my final point. Does that make any sense? And I know what your guys' thoughts are. It doesn't. Thank you very much for letting me come on.
Well, we appreciate you being here and giving us an opportunity to address some of the things that concern us as fans with no other recourse to be able to figure out what's happening. So thank you for that.
And again, guys,
that perspective that you gave us.
Let's not take things so personal, shit. I mean, God.
I was giving perspectives from what I see and what I'm trying.
Let me do this. Not you guys.
Yeah. And as a whole, I get you. As a whole.
Well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Stu,
yeah, yeah.
and Stu, I understand you have a longer relationship with Cap, so you guys have that dynamic there. But you being a guest, being the first time on this show, and with me in particular, I know you've had probably some interaction with Wayne. I just want to make sure that we're doing respectfully right by you.
And
We
I
owe
no,
you
I
that,
appreciate that.
and
No,
and
I
and
appreciate that very
this
much. And
this is
yes.
this show is not TMZ. We're trying to be quality production out there. So part of my moderation here is not to challenge, and I appreciate the fact that I have an open dialogue with us. But as a former player, we have a tremendous amount of respect for you as a player and as a person in particular. So we just want to make sure that part of the relationship goes beyond whatever the discussion marks are. So just
And I have a ton of respect for you guys, and that's why I'm like, let me go on there and at least give my opinion, because I do respect you guys. I guess for me, when I hear fan support, let's get positive. I mean, positive thinking, positive energy. I know it sounds kind of fruity or whatever, but I know for me, whenever I thought positive stuff happened. Whenever I thought negative stuff came to me. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you call yourself a fan, let's be supportive.
There was a fan the week prior that had the same sign. It said "Fire McDaniels, keep Carr," and he said, "Cap, let's take a picture together." I said, "No, I will not take a picture with you with that sign.
Yeah, with that sign.
I won't do that because that's negative." That's why I said you got to give McDaniels a chance. You got to give him at least this year and next year to implement his system. You can't be, because Al used to do this, and you know this. He was the Lawrence Welk of owners. It was 1-2 gone, 1-2 gone, 1-2 gone. It'd be 2 years. And what did we have?
And guys, we were in every single game besides 2. We were in every single game besides 2, and the games that we lost came down to players not making the play when we needed to make the play.
Okay.
It wasn't the coaches.
So,
the coaches put guys in position to win those games, and the players just didn't do it.
Before we break away, Stu, do you have any desire to comment briefly on this week's playoff games? Do you have any thoughts on them, or no?
So forgive me. Who are all in them? I'll run them down.
Okay, Seattle's going to San Francisco to play the 49ers.
Niners.
Okay, the Chargers are going to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars.
Jacksonville.
Okay.
I think so too.
And I do have one question for you really quick. So,
and forgive me if I could give a moment for my friend Uche, who passed away last week, who was a Purdue teammate of mine who played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So when you said Jacksonville, it just made me think of that. And,
our
condolences, brother.
Family.
Thank you.
Good stuff,
one competitive question I had for you: Jacksonville went to Denver last week to play the Broncos, then have to go to Jacksonville and play on Saturday after a short week. Do you think that the Chargers went to Denver to play the Broncos and now have to go on the road to Jacksonville on a short week and play on Saturday? Do you think the NFL should have moved that game to Sunday to give the Chargers an extra day?
I'll be honest with you guys, as a player towards the end of the season, those shorter weeks are actually better, because the more time that coaches have, they overthink things and screw things up.
Okay. All right. Again, thank you for the insight. That's why we're here. Okay. Miami's going into Buffalo to take on the Bills.
I'm going to say Bills. I'm going to say Bill, even though Miami is a team that is moving and shaking. But I think, obviously, after last week, I think the Bills are going to be fired up, and that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
All right, the Giants are going to go into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. I actually like the Giants on the road. I think Minnesota's good, but you just don't know what Vikings team's going to show up. But I think the Giants play as well
you don't
as
know.
they did.
You don't know what quarterback's going to show up, right? I mean, what's his name? Why am I forgetting?
Kirk Cousins.
You like that? You like that?
Kirk Cousins.
Obviously, I'm going to say the NFC North. I'm going to pick Minnesota. I mean, I want that to win that, so I'm going to pick Minnesota.
Okay, Baltimore going into Cincinnati, take on the Bengals. Baltimore is without Lamar Jackson, okay?
Bengals.
And then the Monday night game, Dallas goes to Tampa Bay.
I'm going to pick Tampa, man. My really close friend who I've known since I was 1 year old is the president of ticket sales down there, and I want him to win as many games as he can. And I don't want Brady to win the Super Bowl because I'd like him to try to win one with us next year. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna pick Tampa.
Look
All
what
right.
he let out the bag. Look what you let out the bag.
Well, we'd like to do.
I knew about this ticket, guy.
I just said I would like that.
Yeah, I heard that.
would like
I heard that.
Especially think about it. Where's the Super Bowl at next year, guys?
In Vegas. Yeah.
There you
Vegas.
go. We've already put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
we talked
that,
about
Stu.
that in last week's show. We'll talk about it a whole lot more.
There's a lot of chatter out there about that, and people are disgruntled. People are split both ways.
I think there's really opportunities here, maybe to extend this conversations too. If you'd like to come back on a future show, we'd love to have you.
Absolutely. I apologize. I didn't mean to come in and so I.
No apologies, man. No. That's what we want. Is real talk.
Fired up,
Real talk. No,
Yeah.
I get fired up, but I'm
Well,
relaxing listening to you.
And for what it's worth, Stu, it's a fraction of what you contribute. But one of the reasons why I'm on this show is because I've worn this shirt, and so we talk a lot about the officiating because I know a lot about how.
I would love to come on and speak on that too, because it's a huge part of the game, and I think some of these guys, unfortunately, and you have a better opinion than I do because you've done it. They make it about them, I think, sometimes too much. You know what I mean? Like they're the
Breaking
no,
news.
not really. Yeah. but that's an interesting dynamic. So former player, former ref, couple of diehard fans can't really get any better.
You're not talking about Mike FaceTime Carey, are you?
Yes, actually we are.
When I started to notice how tight the shirts were getting, I'm like, who are these guys, man? Like, what's going on? Yeah, come on, man.
I'm Ed Hockley, and I am gone.
Look, I remember the first time I met Ed Hockley, and I thought I was going to bump into Hulk Hogan. The guy's like 5'9".
Well,
and I almost missed him. I'm 6'5". I almost missed him. I'm like, oh, you're Ed Hockley? And he's like, yeah, I'm Ed Hockley. I'm like, could you move to the left a little bit? I need to get through the door. But it was. Yeah, he's not that big a guy. He looks big on TV, but
no.
I'm okay.
If you don't have it already, make sure you get my number from Cap and just shoot me a text. And I'd like I said, I'd love to have something. And I like to have something scheduled, but I like to support as many as I can, and I saw Cap was live, so I jumped in, and then that conversation came up, and I'm like, oh, please let me, because I was just thinking about this. So thank you very much.
I'm going to say this to everybody here. Stuart Schweigert still owes me an autographed jockstrap of his. I know that. And more.
And more.
And
yes,
more.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna hold you to the autographed jockstrap, but I want the and more too.
Okay, absolutely. You know that. And Violator, be quiet. Be quiet. Don't. That's don't hold that. That's our little thing between me and Cap. So don't hold it against us. Okay.
Hey, I didn't say a word. I don't know nothing about jockstraps.
Hey, no, listen, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We love
Hopefully
you, man.
Everyone had a great Christmas, a great New Year's. Positive. I feel really good about where we're heading, where the team is going. So, but again, what do I know? I'm just some guy in the basement.
Yeah. But question before you leave, Stu. Oh, wow.
That's okay. What was your question?
No, I was going to ask him about the big turnover that we're going to entail.
Okay.
But,
well, maybe we'll
that's
get
for
a
another
chance
show.
to
That's
answer
for that's for another show.
Yeah. So I'm going to put the chat back up because we had 4 people. But so those of you that stayed with us during the chat, thank you very much. We had an unscripted part of the show with a former Raider, Stuart Schweigert, on there. We hope that they gave you some insight. So we did not have that plan. So we appreciate him coming on to the show. We know that some of you didn't choose to stay around, and that's okay as well because we did get off script a little bit. Apologize for that. But I felt like this was worth it. To have really what is unscripted dialogue into a live broadcast. It didn't really go that far off the rails, and I think for this type of show, it worked out pretty good. So thank you for staying with us. There was one question in there asked if I reffed any games with Stu. I did not, but thanks for asking that. But again, thank you for those who stayed around for this. Let's take a quick break. Now that we've wrapped up a lot of things, including some insight into the Raiders, let's come back and talk a little playoffs here after the break. Welcome back, everyone, to NFL Nation Live. We've closed the books on Week 18. We had a 45-minute or so discussion with former Raider Stu Schweigert. I know there's a lot of information in there with the chat. Some of you liked it, some of you didn't, some of you stayed, some of you didn't. That's okay. There's one comment in there. Stu pissed me off, didn't agree with anything with him at all. You know what? And that's okay. We don't have to always agree. What really, and like I said, it was unscripted, or we would have announced it that he was coming in to give you guys a chance of being able to either have a choice in this conversation or not. We really kind of had to wing this. So we apologize if we didn't get to everything in there, but agree or disagree, I get that. But I think what we tried to manufacture through this conversation was to have somebody's perspective. And again, we can agree or disagree with the perspective, but what I have to agree with is that he did his best to try to tell us what he thinks some of what we see and hear is happening or not happening based on what we see or hear. And as fans, sometimes all we have are news outlets, what we watch on TV, maybe what we witnessed in and amongst ourselves. But the fact that we all have opinions is part of the fact that, you know, we're all in the United States of America and not in some communist country where they're telling us what to say. So if you disagreed with what we say or what Stu says, we're okay with that, and you're entitled to that, and we empower you to continue with us as we continue the dialogue back and forth with regard to this, because within all of that discussion are probably some good answers, or at least some good perspective on all the questions that we want to know. Whether you like the product the Raiders are putting down the field or you don't, or you like all the dynamics or you don't. I think some of you probably agree or disagree maybe with what I say about officiating, and I'm okay with that too. What I try to give you is the perspective based on what I know. I think Stuart was trying to do the same thing. So in all of that, it is what it is, and we appreciate you hanging in there with us. So that says, Rifku, what's your thoughts on Raiders always getting screwed by the refs? Well, I think there's a cultural aspect to that. We've dealt with that a lot on this show over the past 4 years. We'll continue to deal with it probably going forward. I think my thoughts are primarily that there is a Raider rule and it needs to go away. I hope that over time through attrition, it will go away. But there are still those out there that believe that it should still exist. And unfortunately, it is what it is. But hope maybe through education and exposing some of that, they'll have to address it. Because I think prior to this show, V, and I think Cap, you can back me up on this. Before we started the show, there really wasn't an outlet for that. No one was really explaining the bad stuff. You know, they might go on NFL Network and say, well, you know, we're trying to do this or that, but no one's really given the inner workings. So we've tried to do that. We did that last year with the playoff game against the Bengals, right, where they had the inadvertent whistle and they just covered it up.
I give you a lot of props. I said, if you want to see a show, just one show that's worthwhile is do the show where ref explained the mechanisms of what was going on that play and how the Raiders got screwed. And obviously the Raider rule in full effect. And by the way, when I saw Jerome's son, and I'm like looking at and he's looking at stuff and he's not calling penalties. And I'm like, who's number 2? And I looked in the guy. I said, oh, no wonder, Boger's kid.
Yeah. And most of the fans aren't even aware of that stuff.
They're not.
I
That's
feel
okay.
privileged to know Ref to enlighten us on some of the insides, just like what Stu did. He was giving us player perspective.
Yeah.
And we need to
Got
see
you.
both sides of the coin because they both go together to make that $1 bill
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
And Steve says, thank you. You're welcome. But Matthew, the Raider rule will disappear with Brady.
Wow.
He's not wrong on that. Some of it
With
does,
me.
but not all of it. Because the Raider rule is not just about the quarterback position or anything quarterback.
No.
It's about the mentality of everything in general, and the game is contextually played by the Raiders. Because Brady going there not going to hurt, so he's right about that part. But the holding calls on Crosby are still going to be an issue. So it doesn't magically all go away.
No.
It's not a box of Lucky Charms just because we might get Brady, but I'm not going to argue that it might help. Look, and Matt's other point is true, is that, or somebody said, is that if I think attrition takes care of it, and I think over time it will, because the electronics are going to make it go away. The less factor that's in there, the better for the Raiders from that standpoint. But yeah, over time, I think we will be able to push some of that out. Our media here in Vegas reports on the Raiders, and the McDaniels even comes on and does interviews and news channels, including Derek Carr, even saying that he did not want to be at the game. Two refs always have their eyes on the quarterback at all time. Not necessarily. The white at the referee position, the actual referee position, his primary and key responsibility is the quarterback at all times. The umpire can help, but that's not his key. His key is center guard. The line judges might have a left or right eye on the quarterback, but I would not say that it's always two refs. I would say it's always two pair of eyes, but not necessarily two refs. Let's see. Brady equals Hollywood script. Brady coming to the Raiders is like Vince McMahon coming back to wrestling. I don't know. Was that a good thing or no? I don't. I know who Vince McMahon is, and I know the wrestling part, but I don't know if him coming back. I don't know what happened there. All right, let's talk a little playoffs. Seattle's going to go into San Francisco to take on the 49ers.
Playoffs?
Yeah,
Playoffs.
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 I think the 49ers are going to be unbeatable at home. Not saying they won't play well in Philadelphia if they have to go in there and play the Eagles, but nobody's going to beat them at home at this point with anybody that's left, and that includes Seattle. What do you guys think?
I got Seattle at home. They're churning on all cylinders,
right?
And this young third-string quarterback is making a lie out of all the stats. Maybe he's an anomaly, but this guy is playing his butt off.
Did you say Seattle was going to win?
No, I said
San Francisco.
The Niners.
Oh, okay, because I thought I heard Seattle, and I'm what?
No, I just mentioned them in casualty. I got San Francisco at home with an easy win.
I'm calling it old ear syndrome. I apologize.
Okay,
that's okay.
Hey, no apologies needed.
Well, and to your point, V, we're putting Seattle on the clock tonight anyway, so they're pretty much done. They backed in. Well, they didn't back in. They beat the Rams, but they had to wait for the Packers game to end before they could claim victory in the playoffs. I just don't think they have it going on.
Yeah.
Somebody says Stu needs to appreciate the fans and not criticize them. Mike, I don't think you're necessarily wrong there, but I think what Stu really wanted to get across in the short time he had with us was kind of a wave the flag, let me speak moment. I think if we interact with him in the future, you'll see that we'll actually have an opportunity for more dialogue. I think from his perspective, and I can not necessarily speak with him totally, but I kind of got the sense that even though he wanted to maybe hear what we thought, because on a couple of questions he did ask us, he had a lot to say about what we were thinking. So I do agree with you that tonight sort of felt like we didn't really get heard. But on the other hand, I think he had a lot to say. And I think that going forward, if we get a chance to have fresher dialogue with him, he'll get and this is the first time he's been on the show. He doesn't understand us or the dynamics, and that's not his fault. But anybody doesn't understand this show. So we as fans know this show because we've been doing it for 4 years. So I don't disagree with you necessarily. But I felt like on a couple of things that I said that he heard what I said. But I think the time was so short, we probably didn't get a chance to express all the things that we would have liked to. But he is, he has his thoughts, and we listened to those in whatever format he wanted to send them tonight. And I'm appreciative of that. So hopefully you'll just stay with us. If we get those dialogues going forward, we're hoping that we can translate that into something positive. So I appreciate your comment.
If you ever have 5 hours to spare, I have a 5-hour interview with Stu on my show. I'm not lying; it was 5 hours long.
Yeah. Wow. So I think was it Mike? I think that said that. I think if you put everything into context, you could take that away from tonight. But I don't think that's what I would like to take away to be. What I'd like to take away to be is that we had an unscripted visitor who was a former player who wanted in a very short period of time to give us his thoughts on a lot of questions that we have. And it was impossible to get everything into context tonight. So let's just leave it at that from that standpoint. But anyway, it is what it is. The Chargers going to go into Jacksonville, take the Jaguars. I was really curious about this one because I would have said that the Chargers got a little bit of a bum deal having to go to Denver and then play a road game on a short week on a Saturday. And we asked Stu about that in the show, and he says, quite frankly, he would, as a player, would rather have the shorter week because of the game planning. How you guys take on that?
I like what he said on that one. Even though I've got Jacksonville in this one, I think this team has found their identity. They're peaking at the right time. Don't look over these guys, and I hope the Chargers don't. But I'm taking Jacksonville. What Stu said about coaches overthinking, I think that comes into play. Just keep going. Let's keep churning. When you got too much time, I think coaches do start overthinking and get in their own heads.
Yeah. So a couple questions in the chat. Let me just go back to this one more time because our fans are in this thing, and I think it's important. One was a comment. I think Jay had a comment in there about Stu. And I think her comment was basically that she kind of feels the same way. I think was it Mike that said that, but we'll give him another chance. I appreciate that. And then Steve is like, love Stu. He's very opinionated. And I don't disagree with that. He's a former player. He's a former player and former Raider. And I don't know how you could, I don't know how you could expect anything else. But I think the other takeaway, guys out there, that I'd like to put in your mind is that he wasn't against us as fans in the show. He was on our side, if you will. He was just trying to provide some perspective for all the questions that we have about there. I think his other primary focus was he doesn't like all the BGC, and BGC is bitch, griping, and complaining. I think he would prefer the fans to slow to pull back on the BGC just a little bit and try to take in more positives about what we can do going forward. The past is what it is. He didn't say that. Yeah. I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm saying that the takeaway kind of is the past is what it is. We're certainly entitled to our opinion and what we think is going on, but the debate about the bad parts doesn't really benefit anybody. It helps it get it off our back. But I think what he would like for us to do is turn the conversation beyond the negative to something positive. If you want to talk trash about something, okay, but then let's move on to talk about what we could do, what we should do. That in there is where the future debate comes forward, is that if we start doing that, we'd like future conversations with him regarding, okay, this is what we think now. This is what we are expecting. Why aren't we getting those things? And then we'll have those future conversations. That's just where
By the way, I like what you said, but it's bitch, moan, and groan, BMG.
Bitch, moan, BMG, yeah. Bitch, moan, and groan, yeah. Bitch, moan, and groan. That's it.
Bitch, moan, and groan. What did I say? No, okay. Okay. Okay.
Stripe and complain.
Okay.
BMG sounds a lot better, and it actually sounds like something like, oh man, you should have seen all the BMG that was going on there.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember that. Okay. Cool. Miami going to go into Buffalo, get their handed to them.
Butts handed to them.
Yeah, somebody asked, and I think it was Matt. Who do we think's in the Super Bowl? And I think it's Buffalo and San Francisco. Quite frankly,
I could see that one too, Ref. Yeah.
we want to win. It's difficult to stay positive when you have the passion that we have for Raiders fans. I agree with you, Jay. And I think going forward, maybe we can extract some of that out in context and get some opinions about that. But it was. Go ahead.
I'd like to say this real quick. I enjoyed Stu's perspective on things. Like I said earlier, we don't get a chance as fans to hear from players. Now, Cap and I know a lot of them personally. They have their perspective on things. I would love to get a lot of those guys on the show, and it would be the same kind of dialogue, so to speak. And like Stu said, hold the players accountable, because those are the guys on the field.
I don't disagree with that, but I think it's a package deal.
If he didn't think that we hold the players accountable, then he hasn't been watching what we've been.
Well, he knows.
Well,
he knows we do, but he's speaking to the audience, I think.
Yeah. And I think
he knows how we are.
Yeah, and I think that's the other takeaway too, is that he was speaking to us and for everybody out there as fans. The comment that floated by that, the Raiders haven't been much of anything for a while, including the last 20 or 25 years before Al passed, and then a decade or so after Al passed. And Stu's perspective on that take really was the only one that we have. And that was that Mark was trying to carry on the decision-making process that his dad used to use and realized that wasn't working. And so now he's trying to do something different. I don't know if it take 10 years to do that, but that part is what it is. So I'm not saying that everything that Stu said was gospel any more than anything we say on this stuff on this show is gospel. I think you have to meld the dynamics of everything going on here, but I appreciate the fact that our fans, our chat room is still moving with passionate comment, because I think it's important. So thank you.
Healthy dialogue. That's what it's about. This is a real talk show. We're not sounding like the other guys.
Via in the last 4 years, this is probably one of the most dynamic shows we've had. So from that standpoint, I'm okay with a little controversy, so to speak. If it rubbed a few people the wrong way, that's okay this time. Let's see where it goes next time.
When it's no worse than what we're going through. So
and is our quality on the air any less than what the Raiders are doing on the field? I mean, come on. I mean, all right. At least we finally heard something from a real player. That I would agree with. I think that's important.
Yes.
That's important. Agree, disagree, context. That's all debatable. I'm not going to argue that. But yes, nice to hear from a former player. The Giants going to go into Minnesota, take on the Vikings. I actually like the Giants in this one. I think Minnesota's good. Obviously, they came back from a huge deficit against the Colts, but I think the Vikings, we just don't know what we've got there. And I think this is a trap game for them. And I think of all the teams that Minnesota didn't want to play this weekend, it was the New York Giants.
Well, gentlemen, I'm taking Minnesota on this. Yes, I'm stepping out. They're at home. Score's going to be loud as hell. Can the Giants put up enough points? Because Cousin.
You like that?
Yes. He's going to connect with his receivers. And you got Dalvin Cook that's healthy and hungry. Watch out. This could be a doozy.
I think Jay is the only lady in the room. So she should
win
a prize for that.
There was a few ladies. That was a few ladies.
Oh, okay.
Jay was in here. Carrie was in here.
Carrie,
okay.
Leslie. Yeah,
okay.
There was a few ladies.
Yeah. Okay.
Love me some
you
Leslie.
guys.
Love me some Jay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
They were there.
Give Jay a T-shirt. I think she has one, but
she's got a shirt.
Yeah, I think she's got one.
Now I can send her some more.
By the way, I never saw any numbers for our trivia question. We all got.
I saw a couple of answers. Hollywood had it. We need to go back down because I saw a few of those, but Stu was talking at the time.
Yeah, but they
Did
were
you write
also-
any
they
of the
were
numbers
also
down?
doing the totals, and you said that if one contest was done twice, it only
Yeah, we
counts as
didn't-
one. So you
counts
got to
as one.
redo those numbers.
Yeah.
All right. So
Jason, I'm the only one left. Hang in there, sister.
how do we find those numbers? It's not 8.
Let's see. Scroll back through the chat because I remember seeing Hollywood came up,
I
and
don't know how
some
to-
other
said
guy
like,
came up.
14 or 15, but he
I
was
don't know how-
doing the combined thing again.
Yeah.
Oh
combined,
yeah, they're not the
yeah.
combined one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gabe says
it's not
it's-
combined. Gabe, it's not combined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike
So
has 8.
no, it's not 8.
Yeah.
Because the number I came up with was at least double digits, but I don't think it's 13.
Let me see. Who did the who's in it? Vikings.
Salute, Jay.
I don't know who the I gotta look at it. I gotta look at something and I can figure it out.
Gabe said 14. No, I don't think so. Because 26. No,
That's
okay.
way too high.
No, that's way too high. Because remember, Buffalo played Dallas twice, but that's only
You only counting ones.
you only
yeah.
counting ones
time.
because it's not it.
Yeah.
It's a repeat, but it's not a rematch. So
Right.
the what we're saying is of the teams that are left, how many single rematches do we have out of those?
Yeah, because you got Bengals and Cincinnati is one.
Yeah.
Buffalo and Cowboys is one.
Yep.
I mean, as far as like the contest, I'd have to see who else is there, but I can probably figure it out.
Yeah. Well, if you want to stay on the show, we can go through each of them. Let's get through the schedule first. Baltimore going to go into Cincinnati. I like the Bengals at home.
Bengals easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. And Baltimore's done. I don't think we put them on the clock yet, but we probably should.
Dave, you're just throwing out numbers now.
I love it, Gabe. Look, hey, I'm going to hit one of them. He's going to hit one of them.
He's going to hit it, yeah.
I love it, man. I love it.
That's the Giants fan in him. I'm going to throw out numbers until I win something.
Oh,
Look,
I got you.
Look, he sounds like a Raider. Look, hey, just hit them all.
Well, I don't. If Gabe's a Giants fan, he's not going to want a Raider Nation mug.
No, he actually watches all my stuff.
Oh, he does.
And I know Gabe has a Raider friend.
Oh,
Think
okay.
about that.
All right, Dallas going to go in Tampa Bay, take on the Bucs. I like the Cowboys. I think they're going to rebound from their loss last week and get ready to play. I think Tampa Bay's in trouble.
Well, I'm going to go against the grain here. I think number 12 gets his send-off from Tampa and look forward to free agency. I'm taking Tampa Bay at home.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is one of those games that
My heart's not there, but that's what I'm saying with my head.
No, I got you.
I root for an atomic bomb because I really, obviously, because Tampa's in it, because that's definitely worth at least one atomic bomb. I honestly think that if you look at the team as a whole, I think that the Cowboys have a better team.
Yes.
They have a better team. And I
agree.
think that they're gonna show it because I remember it was like the Monday night game, Dallas and Dallas and Tampa started the season on a Monday night game here in Tampa, and I know it was a close game. I can't remember who won.
It was close, yeah.
I can't remember who won though, but I'm gonna go with the Cowboys on it.
I'm sorry, Cap. Which game was that?
A couple years ago,
Oh,
the Dallas Cowboys went into Tampa on the opening Monday night.
and they beat the Bucs. Yeah. That
it
may
was
have been
very
last
close.
year.
It was very close.
Yeah, that may have been last year.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys on that, and I think that this is Tom Brady's swan song last
Swan
game
song? Wow.
Agree with you on that,
for the
Don.
fake Pirates.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so teams on the clock this week. I'm advocating Miami, Seattle, and Baltimore.
I'm in agreement on all three of those.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement.
I think they're all done. All right. Gabe, send me your shipping information with name, address, etc. to NFL Nation. I got to learn how to type.
I think Hollywood had 15 earlier though too.
Yeah, I saw his answer earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Gabe,
way
send
down.
me your information to NFLNationLive@gmail.com. and we'll get something out to you. Cap, who was the other one?
Hollywood had
Hollywood.
15 a long time ago.
A long time ago when Stu was talking.
Hollywood, you still with us?
I can get you his information.
All right. Okay. I want to find out what he wants. I don't know if he's got a T-shirt or maybe he needs a book. V, do we have any books left on our account?
We got a book left on the account.
Okay, Hollywood, if you're out there and you don't have Wayne's book, let us know. Try to get something to you.
I'll message him. I said, "What do you want? You want a book or
a
mug?"
shirt? Yeah,
Okay.
mug. Yeah.
What's the prize?
Well, Gabe can get a Raider Nation mug if he wants one, but I don't know if he wants one. A lot of comments there about Lamar going to the Raiders.
I think looking at that, yeah,
I think that
hot
would
right
have. I don't think that's not an option, but I think the Brady thing is much more probable
More
than Lamar.
probable?
If McDaniels wasn't there being Las Vegas, someone else was coaching there, I think Lamar Jackson could have ended up with the Raiders. But without that, I don't think so.
But I wonder if, in all honesty, if Lamar would fit that system.
No, I don't think not with McDaniels.
That's
he doesn't.
my question. Yeah.
No. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Mac Jones ends up with the Raiders.
And they're talking about him too. Now, can he steal him from Bill, Coach Bill? Can he steal him? Because that's what I'm hearing a lot of. Mac
depends.
Jones.
I don't think Coach B's enamored with Mac Jones, quite frankly. I think he might hesitate to say that he made a mistake on that pick, but he hasn't been as good without McDaniels as he was with him. So maybe
you guys were going to wake me up from my nap when it was time for me.
Wakey.
Yeah. What do you got to say, Coach?
Well, I wasn't the person that drafted Mac Jones.
Oh, yeah, it's never the coach's fault.
No, it was whoever the GM was at the time. I don't know if it was Pioli or some other Italian guy. There was another guy there.
Okay. All right.
Okay. But he was enamored with him. So if the Raiders give, I don't know, a really good, a ham and cheese sandwich, and maybe I would know some of those Vegas tickets to some of those places that that's kind of like the Wild Orchid but different. I think that something could be done for Mac Jones. But I'm telling you, I don't think that he's all that in a biscuit. But that's just me. He might be what my young son, who's since departed, Josh, thinks about it. But that's on him. If Josh wants him and the compensation is good enough for him, I do think, and honestly, I will say this, I do think that is a better option for the Raiders than some old dude who should be, with his ex-Skeletor wife watching the kids. I think that's a better option for the Raiders.
Interesting. Kevin says Wisniewski used to sign with fans like you. We should never lose. That's interesting. Yeah.
That was the old guard. That was the mentality.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, they could still have us if they, and I think too that, if the Raiders were winning, what context of conversations would we still be having? Would we still be having the Carr conversations? Would we still be having the Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels conversations? So we need to take a look at ourselves as fans and ask that question too. I think so. All right. So we're almost 2 hours into an hour show. You guys want to go through the Super Bowl picks or no?
Too early.
Probably going to take about 15 minutes to get that number. I think it's 11. That's a number I think it is. And I was doing the quick math while Stu was talking, but I think the rematch number with the teams that are left is 11.
Because I told Hollywood to send his name and address to you.
That's fine. We'll get him something. We'll find out what he wants.
Let me find out. It's like T-shirt, mug, or Violators.
I got Jay.
Oh, Jay says she wants the shirt you're wearing. Which one are you talking about? To get some?
Get some.
Oh yeah, that's a cool shirt. You'll like
I
that.
got you.
Yeah,
I got you,
you'll
Jay.
like that. 49ers Bills prediction. You talking about for the Super Bowl?
Wow, Super Bowl. Ooh, that'd be a
Ah.
doozy. Now
Well,
that,
isn't that what I said?
yeah, that would
Yeah.
be a doozy right there.
That's the one that I want. I'm not. It's not that I don't like the Eagles. They're a good football team. I just think the 49ers are flashy, and I want to see if the Bills can stay with them. And we're not going to
You
know.
know what, too? And I want to say play calling. There's a big difference in what Philly
Yeah.
does and what
Oh, you're
the
absolutely right.
Niners do.
Oh,
Play
absolutely right.
calling.
Yeah.
See, styles.
Well, and Cincinnati, the Buffalo has trouble with Cincinnati for the same reason. And so, if you're going to play the Super Bowl, I'd really like to see if they can stay with them.
What's up, Benjamin?
Yeah.
I tell you, don't sleep on the Jags. I said the Jags.
That's
this
what I
year,
say.
The Jags this year are like the Bengals last year, and the Bengals all they needed was a bad call to get on their way.
True that. True that. So there's another
Yeah.
team back in history. Tuck 'em. That's all I'm gonna say.
The Broncos on a
Tuck
fumble
'em.
that wasn't a fumble, or that was a fumble that wasn't called,
Tuck
or
'em.
it would have been the Raiders versus the Cowboys in Super Bowl.
Not that one. Tuck 'em.
Oh, okay.
The Snow Bowl. Yeah.
I was going back.
Yeah, Snow Bowl. That's all. Tuck 'em.
The interesting part of what you're saying, Cap, though, is from a stat standpoint. Jacksonville's a plus 54 in their over under. So they've scored more points than they've given up by a total of 54. The Chargers are only a plus 7.
Yeah.
So they're not playing very good defense. So I agree with you with that. And I think that'd be fine if they beat the Chargers from that standpoint. My concern is just experience. I don't know how Trevor's going to do in his first playoff game. Not that Herbert's. I just more confident in the Chargers' preparation and execution. Not that the Chargers aren't the better team technically in the football pick. So I'm not going to argue that point. But a plus 7 is why you're a wild card, not the division champ, right?
I would take Peterson's experience with the Jags.
Yeah,
on that.
There's that. Right. I agree with you. And I wanted to take that too, V.
Come on now.
I wanted to take
I just feel it in my gut. Just
Come
the
on,
experience.
man.
Well, but I agree with you, V. The only problem I have with that is that players execute. Coaches can't play. And although, they might have a better game plan if they don't execute it, or if they turn the ball over, do something stupid. I think the unknown too is I don't know how Bosa's going to do against the Jaguars offensive line. That's a matchup I don't know yet. So that's probably the toughest game this week to pick, I think. You could argue that New York, Minnesota's tough as well. But it'll be interesting. We'll see. But the other reason why I took the Chargers, V, was that very rarely in the wild card playoffs have all the home teams won.
Yeah.
So when I went with the home teams that were going to win, which was Buffalo and Cincinnati, I felt like it was going to be 3-3-4-2, and that was one of the games I had to give.
Right.
But that stat means nothing.
Because
that stat means nothing. But
because of that, that'll be the one to watch. That's going to be the interesting game. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, it's on Saturday right after San Francisco beats the crap out of the Sea Chickens. So, all right. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us this week for a wild Week 19 show. Thank you, Stu Schweigert. If he gets wind of that, Kat, please thank him for being on the show. Thanks everybody for hanging into us with what we know is a really late night, but it was kind of fun. Hopefully we can get some more dialogue going with either Stuart or maybe some other players. I'd like to get all the Famer on here because they'd probably want to chat more about their playing days than the actual mechanics of what's going on in Las Vegas at the moment, and that might be a nice respite from all the craziness. But in any case,
we'll be reaching out.
I'd love to have Fred Bolitnikoff on the show, but I don't have a way to get to make that happen. But
I've already reached out. I've reached out already.
if he ever did want to come on this show, make sure he brings a Kleenex, man, because he's going to laughing his ass off. I got some funny stories for him. But in any case, you guys ready for the playoffs?
Playoffs?
Playoffs? Okay. It's
Hell
super
yeah.
wild.
Look.
Super wild card weekend.
It's Super Wild Card weekend. That's what all the fans are geared up for. Even though we're not in it, let's go. It's playoffs.
You don't know diddly poo about the playoffs.
Yeah,
Diddly
copy
poo.
that. All right. My head hurts like hell. For those of you that know, you know, but I'm
Well, I don't know anything about a chainsaw, but yeah.
I know the chainsaw laws. That's all I know.
Copy
Go
that.
Rev. Go Rev.
Yeah, copy
Strong
that.
chin.
Yeah.
Get
Take
some,
care.
baby.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week. Man, our week 20 show. Wow.
Yes.
Crazy.
Look out.
We'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks for being with us.
Take
Can't
care.
wait to do my dance when they
Yeah. The Carlton.
Yes.
Carlton.
Booty Google! Booty Google!